We run down the future figures that are coming to the Motu Origins line based on the card art from the latest Rise of the Snake Man wave. And before we dive into the episode, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you can be alerted to the latest reviews, news, and episodes when they drop. Hey everyone, welcome back to Toy Habits. I'm Michael, and with me is my collector in crime, Larry. Now, this past week, we got the final card back images for the Rise of the Snake Man Wave 1 set of figures from Roy Juarez, and this is great because, one, we have not had a chance to catch up on this wave, and two, thought it'd be fun to take a closer look at this wave, plus the future figures based on the card art teases. And just an update on my end, my civic duty is officially over, so we can get back to regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, and an update on my end that I get to go perform my civic duty here in just a few weeks. So super excited. Not sure if you jinxed me or if I jinxed myself or what,
I
but
think
yeah.
I did, and I'm sorry. But yeah, I think you were saying it earlier, like Mattel must have our number or Hasbro has our number, and they're like, okay, we need to give Michael and Larry jury duty really close together, just to
Yeah.
stave them off a little bit.
Yeah, trying to hold us back from leaking anything or talking about anything or whatever.
Right, right. And it's funny, speaking of leaks, like we started talking about this wave back in May of this year, and our trusted toy habit source let us in on what was coming down the line, and it seemed like a really strange assortment at the time, but now it's come to fruition and it doesn't seem that strange anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like back then it was like, what are they doing? Maybe these are just placeholders or whatever,
Right.
but yeah, now it's like, yeah, this looks like kind of what we would expect at this point, right?
Yeah, exactly. And let's kick things off with Boltman, and he is dubbed the molecular regenerator, and he has the power and the ability to heal and recreate life force molecules.
Yeah, I don't know about Boltman. I haven't seen enough of him or kind of read any backstory or anything, so I have no history with the character. So just have to kind of wait and see. It looks cool on the card. I kind of like I think the kind of blue color that they use for him isn't one that's really used in any of the rest of the line. So I think he'll look cool on the shelf. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about him because I don't know much about him at this point. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess they are devoting a mini comic to him. So, and they're also integrating him into the lore. So, yeah, I think we do find that a bit odd, but yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it kind of depends on how it goes. Like I think if he's got cool enough story, I think you could pull it off. But at this point, I don't know if he's got a big enough fan base for what it is. But we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of the differences in these Rulers of the Sun figures come with the armor and the head sculpt, because I think what I'm seeing now and just realizing from other figures that they've released is it's pretty much the same exact buck, same shoes, same bracers, same pretty much everything, just repainted. So,
Yeah, and really, in a way, that I mean does go along with the whole Masters thing,
yeah.
anyways, because like basically just as the line grew, then they would just maybe add on like a different maybe a different forearm or different boot or whatever, and then pretty soon you start reusing those. So maybe if the Rulers of the Sun would have continued on, maybe we would have gotten some variation in the figure types and things like that. So
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, I mean, looking at the his card art specifically, not really a tease that Camo Con is coming to the line. Of that was revealed at SDCC 2022, but Roy Juarez, aka Manuel Eduardo Carritas, does an amazing job with the art.
yeah, it looks cool. I mean, I always love the art for these. It's cool to see them, really vibrant colors and cool scenery, and then a lot of times cool teases on other characters and things like that. So yeah, with this one we knew about Camo Con, but it's cool to see him in the art.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and the figure looks great. And yeah, Camo Con was in classics, and it's actually very cool to see him coming to Origins. And I'm actually surprised that they didn't put Camo Con up for pre-order on one of the Mo Tuesdays.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess I was kind of expecting to see something as far as a date for him or something by now, but sometimes they leave us hanging in suspense. So
Yeah.
we'll see when this one pops up.
Yeah, something to look forward to. And next up is Rattlor, and as you can see, no action feature, and he'll come with a neck attachment.
Yeah, I have seen some people frustrated that the action features are being left out, and in place of like being able to swap parts. And really, I just some of the action features really weren't that great anyways.
Right?
I mean, it's cool to have them, but sometimes some of the things they may not be able to do now anyways, just because of like safety concerns or whatever have changed, of course.
Yeah,
And sometimes those things would break. So I don't know. I feel like you're not necessarily exchanging them as far as the swappability for the action feature, because they might not have been able to do the action feature anyways.
yeah, that's
So
true.
I think that something like this, I think kind of that neck extension piece is probably the way for him to go. And I think Rattler still looks cool. He still looks like the vintage
Yeah.
figure, so you're still able to pull off kind of the same look without maybe incorporating all the different aspects of the vintage figure.
Yeah, that's true. I do hope he comes with that rattling sound, though. I think that should be pretty easy for them to do. Just throw in some plastic parts that might be left over from from the molds when they take them out.
We'll hope, but then if a kid breaks that open and eats those
uh,
little pieces, then who knows? So I mean, maybe that's a problem.
yeah, I mean, hopefully not. I mean, what kids are playing with these anyway? Let's be honest, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's probably true.
Maybe yours.
Yeah, mine do, but other than that,
All right, and then as far as the card art tease for Rattlor, we do see Snake Mountain lurking in the background, and we know from the latest news that they are making Snake Mountain. So again, not much of a tease, but it was if they hadn't, put this out a couple weeks ago, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. If we didn't know before, we would have more of an idea now. But yeah, I mean they've teased it a few times, so cool to see it again, and definitely cool to see the announcement. So
Oh, definitely. And next up is Cobra Khan, and he comes with a poison blast effect, which I'm fine with. Plus, that kind of takes the mold issue out of the equation if you leave the water, inside that bladder with the vintage Cobra Khan. So I'm good with
yeah,
it.
yeah, I am too. I think the kind of blast effect piece is cool. It looks like a really cool color. It's that really kind of like a bright green, and it looks like Venom. So I
Yeah.
think because really, aside from playing with these, I don't know what you would do with that action feature. Being able to spray water out of his mouth. I don't want to put him on the shelf with water.
No.
So the only time you're going to use it is if you're actually like playing around with it, maybe taking pictures or something for some kind of diorama kind of thing. But to me, this is kind of best of both worlds, because you still get that effect, and it looks cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it looks great with that water effect or poison effect. So yeah, I think it's cool. And yeah, it looks like they're reusing some parts from Zodak too. And I think the head sculpt came out really nice on this one.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I kind of wish we were getting a second head sculpt with him. Just kind of the maybe the like the standard head that they did with the classics version.
Hmm.
But it is what it is. They don't, a lot of times they don't include the extra head sculpts with these. So
Yeah, I guess it'll come with the Camo Con, but it's going to be a
yeah.
different paint app. So yeah, it would have been nice. Maybe they'll make one. Maybe they'll re-release one at some point, possibly.
Yeah, and I think that's the only thing that kind of bothers me about this one. I feel like he does only come with the gun. I mean, and he does have the venom effect there, but to me, you've already produced that other head sculpt, and
Yeah,
you're just using it for CamoCon. So to me, you maybe could have included it here as well. The only thing I'll say about the head sculpt too is that it does look like it sits pretty high up on that neck piece,
hmm,
to where he looks like kind of the neck is more more neck is visible than on a lot of other characters. So that's kind of something to watch out for the actual like production figure, when getting into the hand and stuff like that.
yeah. I guess too. Like I guess since that action feature is not present anymore, like typically, you could squeeze his head down, and so maybe they just added some extra neck to him.
Yeah, yeah, that could be. Just to give more more of that kind of vintage look and feel, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And with respect to the card art, Extendar is seen in this particular card, which is great because I actually really like the Extendar vintage figure.
Yeah, yeah, he'll be cool to see. Hopefully we'll see him sooner rather than later. But you never know. I think this is the first time we've seen him on anything,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
he'd be cool to get for Origins. Not a character I have a lot of history with because I think I was done collecting classics when he came out because I don't remember getting him. So
Yeah.
yeah, he'll definitely be cool to get for Origins.
Yeah, I was at a Motu when he came
Yeah.
out as well because he came out pretty late in the line. So the I guess speaking of history, the origins, pun intended, of Extendar is that he made his debut in the mini comic The Warrior Machine, and in this comic he was a friend of Prince Adam, and he was an ordinary knight, but he yearned, like everybody, right, to have that special power. And after seeing how Hordak created Dragstore, Hordak granted Extendar his wish and subjected him to scientific experimentation, which turned him into a mechanical cyborg warrior with that power extension. So, in that comic, Extendar manages to throw off Hordak's curse and join the heroic warriors. But most of the mini comic appearances involve him fighting the evil warriors or the Snake Men, which makes sense to introduce him here.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely cool to see the backstory on him and yeah, kind of see where they might fit him in. And hopefully, maybe that means that they'll try to include him, along this kind of Snake Man release schedule.
Oh
So
yeah,
maybe next couple waves we'll see him.
yeah, I hope so too. So he probably maybe get that treatment of the card art, with the Snake Men packaging and stuff like that. But he had a normal looking card in the vintage figure, and as far as the figure goes in the vintage line, he just kind of pulled his limbs out, and that's how he extended. But I think the Origins line is following suit with the Classics line, so it looks like we could see a version of Extendar with snap-on parts like the Classics line. What do you think?
Yeah, I would guess probably the snap-on parts, seems like it's more likely. But I will say, it's kind of harder to get that vintage look doing it that way.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe this is one that you almost hope that they find a way to incorporate, but I really doubt it. I think we're
yeah.
gonna get those extension pieces for everything.
Yeah, kind of like how they did Mechanic. I mean, it looks kind of like the vintage figure, but not really. It looks more like the classics version.
Yeah, I think maybe that if they did those extension pieces a little shorter, and just maybe kind of the way the Origins figures are designed, maybe you'll be able to get a better vintage look out of them. So
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. And that it's funny that it's really hard to come up with a clean picture of Extendar, and the one on the right is from the Battle Ram blog, and it's funny like the gold kind of has that patina look to it after a while. So I don't know if they're actually using like copper or something, but it's kind of weird. I don't think they were back then. But
you wouldn't think so, but yeah, yeah, kind of yeah, another kind of thing that remains to be seen as far as how they'll handle the coloring of
Mhm.
that kind of thing. So
Yeah, definitely. And next up is Snake Armor He-Man, and we saw him in the diorama for Eternia at SDCC 2022. And I think this figure looks fantastic. And I actually haven't seen any more official images aside from the card and this image that we have from the Eternia playset. So hopefully we'll see some more of those.
yeah, I would hope so. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I really like this version of He-Man. I think he's cool. I think the head sculpt looks really good
Yeah.
with the style of figure that he is, and I'm glad to see. I think in that Eternia kind of diorama that they made, his hair looked just really blonde. But you can see that it's kind of got that kind of dirty blonde look in the actual carded
Oh,
sample.
yeah.
So
That's true. That's true. And we've seen the back of his card art before, and Squeeze and Snakeface are teased on it. So, it's actually cool. We've seen the Snakeface leak, come from Canal dos Rosmaneros, and I think as well as the Squeeze leak as well. So, those are probably definitely coming down the line.
yeah, I would hope so. I mean, I hopefully in the next wave,
Yeah.
like to me, I want them to go ahead and knock all the Snake Men out,
Yeah.
get them all released. Kind of like what they did with the Horde. I think that makes the most sense is to kind of do a follow-up wave. Maybe two. You can probably get through them in maybe 2 or 3 waves. And I kind of hope that they kind of finish them up because I feel like with the Horde there are a few left unmade. So I hope that
Yeah.
they get through all these guys.
Yeah, I hope so too. And Squeeze was actually put out as a leak too and found in the Amazon database. So it's kind of giving more credence that this will come down the line at some point. And, you can kind of see from the vintage packaging that they have that Rise of the Snake Men logo on it too. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I am too. I think he's cool. I had the Staction version of him, and that was a super cool figure. And yeah, I'd be excited to get him in Origins. And just the the vibrant green with the purple and the
Yeah.
orange, really cool uh colors to him. So I like him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have that crop top. So
Yep.
he's like the dreadnought of the Motu line.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
All right, and then Snakeface is another great one. I think one of my favorite vintage figures, just with the action feature of those snakes popping out of his eyes. It just kind of gives a creepy look, and it's just like a really odd looking figure.
Yeah, yeah, he really is. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle him too. I think we've talked about him before as far as, they'll probably do rather than an action feature, probably just do, snake pieces that you pop into the
Yep.
sockets or whatever. And I think that'll be fine. I think you can go with, maybe get a better look for him, depending on how you display him and doing it that way too. So
Yeah, interesting. This is the first time I noticed that he actually doesn't come with an articulated neck, and so his neck actually doesn't move. So maybe maybe they'll make one for this one if they actually choose to put some pieces on. And I'm sure that they had to make some concessions with the action feature. So be interesting to see what they got.
yeah, I bet he gets just a head that pops on and off like the other figures, and then you just have the pieces that attach, to the, kind of at the sides of the neck and and on the face. So
Yeah.
I think that'll be cool. Kind of makes him look a little more natural and more like the rest of the line, I guess. And I know that, some purists probably are like, no, no, he's supposed to look like this. It should just be one solid piece. But for me, I kind of like the idea that he kind of matches up with everybody else.
Yeah, all right. That does it for the standard figures. So moving on to the two remaining deluxe figures in this wave, we have Thunder Punch He-Man, and I am so excited for this one. He looks amazing.
Yeah, yeah, he really does. I think the more of these kind of releases that we get, the more, they just really doing a great job of bringing back that vintage feel. They look awesome, I think, and this one's no exception at all. I think he looks great.
Yeah, he does. Like I love the red, and I love that the fact that they're including kind of those nods to that cap gun action
Mhm.
feature, and that fist effect looks really awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it does. I wish they would do more of those. I think those are cool. I think they're kind of maybe finding ways to work them in the more figures that are released, and it's cool. I kind of want them to do like a Blast Effects pack or
Hmm.
something, just for putting stuff on some of the previously released figures. But yeah, this one's gonna be fun to get.
Yeah, it's funny with all the part swappability. Like you would think that they would have either like a weapons pack or an armor pack, and some, maybe include some blast effects. So I'm actually surprised that they haven't done anything with those yet.
Yeah, yeah, I think that you could come up with at least a couple um to do like cool different colored armors and weapons and things, and people love those, and people, I mean, really, people have been asking for them. They did what, three different releases for classics,
Hmm.
and we're a couple years into Origins now, so um I'd like to see them, put one out at least.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And
Yep.
the card art for Thunder Punch He-Man is amazing because you can see the Snake Troopers in there. So, those were originally put out in the Classics line, and, also teased with that Amazon leak as well. So, this would be a very easy one for them to do. They have all the Horde Trooper armor, just throw a snake head on it and call it good.
Yeah, yeah, there shouldn't be too many complications for this one. And that'll be cool. We've talked about them before as far as just to add to the kind of the ranks of the Snake Men. So
Yeah, I think it'd be neat too because I love the Horde Trooper action feature that they did. So hopefully they still retain that with these ones.
yeah, yeah, you would hope so. I mean, if they do them as like a deluxe two pack kind of thing, should be, plenty of yeah, they wouldn't, doesn't seem like they'd lose any money doing it that way.
Right.
So just
Right.
for getting further use out of that sculpt.
Yes. All right. And last but not least, we have King Hiss. And, he was revealed at SDCC 2022. And, I think the way that they handled King Hiss this time is actually amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really excited for him. I think he looks awesome. Really, he looks as good as I would have hoped he could. I like just thinking about what they might do to change him. To me, this is kind of the best thing they could have come up with because he looks great in both versions.
Oh,
So
definitely. Yeah. I think we were talking about this probably several times. We've talked about King Hiss just with the treatment that he had back in the vintage line. He just didn't look as grand as they're making him now.
yeah, no, and I love the idea that you could swap the different arms and put the different heads and swap everything out. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think he looks great in that form, and he looks great in his quote unquote human form as well.
Yeah, I don't know which way I'll display him. I think he'll be one that I'll probably change out pretty frequently. So
Yeah. Oh, geez, this is another one where you probably get me to get two of, which I need to stop, but I can't. It's like I guess it's not that big of a deal to swap out the parts and stuff, but maybe I'm just lazy.
well, sometimes you kind of forget about them, once
Yeah.
they're on the shelf. Especially if we're getting, like fairly regular releases, you just kind of forget about stuff and you just don't go back and change things out. But I don't know. I go through my shelf and swap out the attachments on Trapjaw and kind of mess around with figures. So hopefully he's one that I remember to change around.
Yeah, I need to do that more instead of shelling out money for double the figures. But hey, double the figures, double the fun. Now, double your wallet hurting.
Takes up more display space too.
That's
That's
true.
that's the other thing is just having the one figure out there kind of keeps everything a little more compact and less space taken up.
Yeah, we got to make room for Eternia too. So it's definitely a premium. But the card art tease is actually super cool on this one because you can see Snake Tila lurking in the background there.
Yep, and we've talked about her before, and I think we've talked about that she'd be a cool release, and I'm still excited to see how this one turns out. I think the 2000X Snake Tila was really cool, and it'll be cool to see how they handle her for Origins as well.
Yeah, I loved her in the 2000X line, and she came from an episode called Second Skin. And in this episode, King Hiss found that ancient serpent ring artifact that he could transform anyone into a snake man or snake person, if you will. And there were only a handful of heroes that were changed. It was Man at Arms, Mechanic, King Carnivus, and Tila, but Tila only got the uh, transformation toy treatment. So I think my guess is that they'll use the Tila that came with the Zoar 2 pack. So it's a figure that already has that ponytail on it.
Yeah, and I really hope that they go all out on this one because, like the 2000X figure had kind of the boots that went all the way up into
Yeah.
the knee area even, and I think that would be cool to see if they just kind of rework that bottom part of her legs and make a boot that comes all the way up, just because I think that really changes the look of the figure and would just make it really stand out on the shelf.
Yeah.
And then I think the green skin and kind of the painted scales and things, I hope they keep all that and don't just kind of go with like a just like a colored skin and then try to put some just a different kind of texturing to it. I
Yeah.
want to actually do the paint effect that they did before. So
Yeah. I think that look awesome. I'd also love to see that gold treatment on her bracers and belt and collar piece just transferred over to the N Origins figure. So I think that particular color scheme works really, really well in the 2000X line.
yeah, yeah, and the face is really creepy, and
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And I hope they'll find a way to kind of capture that look too.
Definitely. All right. So let us know what you think of the figures that are coming down the line from these card art teases from the Rise of the Snake Man Wave 1 in the comments below. Which figure are you looking forward to? I'm Michael,
And I'm Larry.
and thanks for tuning into Toy Habits.